Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Noland, and tonight, you know what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about image. Now, image as it is pertaining to the music industry specifically, and even more specifically, rock and roll. Now, image has always been important when introducing new artists right from the very start. We had the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley. Once he got rid of that blonde hair of his and dyed it black, what did he look like? He looked more like an incarnation of Superman himself. Of course, it wouldn't be too much longer before we were introduced to four lovable mop tops that showed us that music could have an image, or the musicians themselves, an image of cuteness. But you know what? We got a whole lot more than image back then, didn't we? Oh, we had a few bands that really were clunkers, but there were a ton of bands from the 60s all the way through the 90s, which I basically consider the greater classic rock era. And one of those bands is the rock band Kiss, all right? And Kiss, when you're talking about image, well, they are image incarnate. But what about their music? And what about their musical catalog? You see, Kiss has just sold their entire music catalog. All right, so before we get into the specifics about Kiss selling their musical catalog and a bit more, we'll get into that in just a minute, I want to say a couple of things about Kiss. First of all, I'm not a major Kiss fan. I think that they have made a few great recordings and a couple of pretty good albums, and I do believe they even belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or at least the four original members. You know, Kiss is one of those bands I consider to be a garage rock band, and that's not to put them down. Like I said, they've put out some pretty decent records over the years. And I'll even give you an example of what I'm talking about. To me, the world's greatest garage rock band of all time was Creedence Clearwater Revival. Now, with Creedence, they started off as just that, but they developed their sound in a way that you could hear this stuff, and you would hear this stuff coming from garages all over America, because every 15 to 16-year-old band was playing Creedence Clearwater music. And with Kiss, I think musically they fit right about there. They had a decent bass player, an okay rhythm guitar player, a pretty damn good lead guitar player, and an all right drummer. And somehow the four of them put that together and made a greater sound. And they also had a Kiss army of fans. So I do not cut this band down. I'm just not that big of a fan. I was a little bit older when they came out. I had already been into Alice Cooper, and to me, they were just another copycat Alice Cooper kind of band, and I kind of dismissed them and didn't get into their music until I was well into my 30s, and I liked some of it, as I've said. But tied to their music, whether you like it or not, is their image. Not only does it permeate their shows, but it also is in the DNA of their songs. When you listen to a Kiss song, you are in your head saying, "The Demon and the Star Child." Now, I've also brought out many times in past videos other artists who have sold their catalogs. I've talked about Bob Dylan selling his catalog, and of course Bruce Springsteen, $500 million right there. And I've also talked about artists who have regained their catalog. Of course, I'm talking about John Fogerty finally getting control over his own children, his songs. So we see two camps of thought here by many rock icons these days, don't we? Now, I want to read a couple of passages from this article regarding Kiss selling their catalog. And it starts off by saying, Pop House has today concluded a landmark agreement with the iconic band Kiss. Pop House is the Swedish entertainment and music investment firm renowned for its development of brand-building activities in the music industry and entertainment, such as the groundbreaking ABBA Voyage show in London, in which Pop House is the founding investor. Now, here's where it gets interesting. It also says that Pop House has acquired Kiss's artist share of master recordings, that's what I was talking about earlier, and publishing rights. Financial terms of the transaction were not disclosed, but Fortune reports that the band is being paid over $300 million. Now, what is Pop House going to do with all of this? Well, it goes on to say, working closely with Kiss, of course, Pop House will follow its unique value-add approach of drawing upon its world-class, in-house, creative and storytelling expertise to unlock new audiences and, of course, revenue streams. It continues, Pop House will use its proven industry-defining playbook to create new content and experiences to enrich the Kiss catalog for fans old and new, actively seeking to enrich and add value to the brands and artists it partners with. Inclusivity and community have always been vital to the Kiss experience, and Pop House is committed to nurture the close relationship between Kiss and its devoted fans moving forward. You know, I don't know about you guys, but to me, that whole 2 paragraphs I've just read is the biggest bunch of corporate claptrap that I've ever read. You see, I mentioned in my last video some of the things that I see as dangerous to rock and roll and why rock and roll is falling behind as the predominant art form or musical art form these days. And I did not mention avatar shows, and I did not mention artists who sell their catalogs. You see, the way it used to be for the most part was that family inherited these catalogs. It would be a way to continue making money for the family, you know, the traditional way of doing things, and that if some mucky muck wanted to use a soundtrack for a movie or a re-release or something like that, they would have to deal with the family. The family being, well, basically the middleman, and corporations today are eliminating the middleman, just like they usually do. Now, you may have noticed in that statement by Pop House that they use the word inclusivity. Of course, well, Paul Stanley says of inclusivity, our journey with Pop House is fueled by the desire to eternally resonate, oh boy, across diverse facets of global culture. As we embark on this venture, we aim to weave our legacy into the tapestry of different worlds, ensuring that the Kiss experience continues to captivate both our devoted fans and those yet to discover the thrill. No ego there, is there, folks? Oh, wait a minute. He goes on to say, this partnership is not just a chapter, it's an eternal symphony of rock and roll immortality. There's the ego. Thank you, Paul. Now, Gene Simmons went on to talk about other people who had sold their catalog. And of course, he's always comparing himself with giants. That's kind of his motif. He talked about Bob Dylan. He said the only problem with Bob Dylan's catalog is nobody's listening to it anymore. No new fans are listening to The Times Are A-Changin'. As a matter of fact, that's the song he was using as an example. He then went on to compare Kiss with Bruce Springsteen. He says, there you've got a lot of new fans, great music, it's still hot and everything, but it lacks image. With us, you've got image. Which brings us all the way back around, doesn't it, folks? This is the tail wagging the dog. This is the image creating the sale of their catalog. Do you think Pop House would have been interested in paying $300 million, nearly a third of $1 billion, to these guys if they couldn't have used their image? Just ask ABBA. And think about the image that they're selling. 2 of those images are wearing traditional Kiss garb, but the images are of the replacement members, not the 4 that actually made this band something worth listening to. You know, so-called live events are getting less live every single day. We have bands providing backing tracks. Now, classic rock bands lip syncing because they can't do their freaking job anymore. We have bands doing residencies in front of a giant jumbotron. As a matter of fact, the entire interior of the Las Vegas Sphere is nothing more than an inside-out giant TV. And now we're gonna have 3-dimensional avatars perform for us. You think Don Henley lip syncing is bad? What about a bunch of avatars lip syncing? That is so unreal, I can't even begin to fathom or wrap my mind around it. All right, folks, that's the video for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please give it a thumbs up. That always helps disperse it to a wider audience. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel as of yet, that's easy. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button, tap that top bell icon. You always got to tap that thing, otherwise you will not be notified of all my future videos. All right, I'm Michael Noland. This is The Bottom Line. The bottom line as I see it, folks. The real bottom line is always in the comments, and it's in the comments where we are the tribe.